You're killing me, Smalls.
We making movies, no acting in. I'm fucking Instagram action shit. UPS shipping packages. I'm smoking weed out them packages. If I ain't got a gun, I'm stabbing it. I got some leftover lean in the cabinet. I can hit your little hoe when she happy. Poke on that pussy shit like it's a top in it. We making movies, no acting in. I'm fucking Instagram action shit. UPS doing the packaging. I'm smoking good ass weed out them packages. I can't lie, 'cause I ain't capping it.
Welcome back to the DNA podcast. It's your boy D.
It's your boy Antonio. Let's get to it.
To kick off our Black History Month 4-episode run, we're going to hit with a little bit serious topic. We're going to talk about critical race theory. What is it? Do we believe in it? Should it be taught in schools? Etc. Etc.
It's CRT has been this the zeitgeist of big word alert of like Republican talking points and conservatives crying about it in school board meetings, and just if you go to the facts, they complain about they're teaching CRT in schools, this and that to our kids, indoctrinating them. CRT is not taught even in low level college classes. You have to be taking like high level sociology, so you got to get past sociology 1.
Mm-hmm.
You might touch it a little bit in the first sociology class. You don't even get into the nitty gritty. It's taught in law school, and it's an elective in law school. It's not a requirement.
So what is it for the people that don't know?
So it's the main core focus is talking about how race plays a key and crucial important part in the legal structure and legal outcomes of America, and how is that influenced by history and all that fun stuff. So it's not even that crazy of a concept. I think if you were going to fearmonger behind something, the more militant version of CRT is like the 1619 Project. That's way more radical, way more crazy, and they are actively trying to teach that in schools. Like they're trying to get people to put that into their curriculum, and even some of their information isn't completely correct. I've looked into the 1619 Project, and it's a little shaky.
Is it the one where they're experimenting on black people?
No. So the 1619 Project is like, so 1619 is the year that the first black slave came to America. That's how it got its name. But 1619 Project is like, it's more focused on the education system and teaching black history, but teaching history but not just black history, American history, and telling all the dirty details and all that fun stuff, which I don't disagree with in principle. I think those things should be progressive in their in how much you learn. Like, because a kindergartner shouldn't get all the dirty details of. They should get the truth, but maybe not the whole truth at 5.
I think the radical shift of things, I think the way kindergarten, like first grade is taught, should remain the same. It's a real culture shock when you get 6th, 7th grade.
I think you should be introduced to it in smaller, like we should stop telling these lies to these kids. Like you don't have to tell them, oh, slave masters whipped their slaves, and they raped them and did this and did that. Like, you don't have to. They don't need to know that, but you don't have to tell them, hey, the Pilgrims and the Indians had dinner together. That's a fucking lie.
Hearing like when the nitty gritty started coming out, and the one thing I was lucky to have was a bunch of black teachers. Went to damn public school, so shit. White teachers was up out of there quickly. And so I was lucky to have, but at the same time, that was my only other options. They told us stuff like this, and that's where my thirst of knowledge began, when it's like, what the fuck? And them niggas didn't have Thanksgiving together. What the fuck?
But to not deviate from our talking point too much, but I think that's why it's so important. They talk about diversity, and is why it's important to have a diverse teaching staff. because your worldview is so shaped by who you grew up around, and so if you don't get exposed to that stuff, you might not get exposed to it until you get to college, or until you get into the real world, and you get to hear some other people's perspectives. I actually did not have a lot of black teachers growing up.
It's not.
My mom was a history buff. My stepmother's a history buff. So I just got the nitty gritty from the jump.
It's not surprising because, like, once again, being like in more hood associated schools, the black teachers just messed with us well. Was surprised. You get the black kids, black teachers. We act a little bit better. So like you would have these classes full of like kids who are considered bad kids who on their own would disrupt a whole bunch of classes. Being as one black teacher's class, and they'd be like, "Whoa, what the fuck is she teaching? Like, what are they doing, bro? She just know how to talk to us, man. She talked to us like a damn aunt. Hey, I don't know who the fuck you think you're playing with, but we don't do that around here." I don't care how big you are, I still snatch your big ass on up. Like that was just always the norm. And it's like every single black teacher and black person in any type of authority in school and just made me feel comfortable being black. I think that's what teachers' jobs are, but it's rare that white teachers actually made me feel comfortable.
Yeah, it always feels like I grew up in I grew up in a lot of white spaces. Just non-black spaces, because I did grow up with a diverse background. Like I moved around like I was a military kid, but I did not grow up in a lot of black spaces. So like, it always felt like a show. It always felt like I had to water myself down. I had to carry myself a certain way because I'm probably one of two in this room.
Every time I told people I had 4 best friends, if they were the only black guys I was in class with when I got to high school. After 9th grade, I was the only black male in any of my classes. There was like 2 or 3 other black females. But all sum total, it's 4 black people, and I'm the only black male. But I put a focus on this. Because this affects my views of critical race theory, or if it should be taught in schools. Mm-hmm. I think it should, but it can't be taught. Like, learning black history from learning your regular February black history felt kind of token and insincere from a white teacher, except for one. I had one in 9th grade, and she was the shits. Like, this white lady, I don't know, she must have grew up poor. But like she did everything in her power for us to learn. She was the movie type of white lady, the white savior.
The white savior.
Because she did that shit. Like she taught history. And I guess it's the closest to critical race theory I would get to in public school, because she taught every single nitty-gritty detail. And this is not for facts. I'm not hyping this up for a soundbite. Her class was harder than every college class I took, minus accounting. Like, the work she gave out, because we had to write fucking notes, we had to do all these notes, we had to get all these defined details, and then she would even tell us, like, I just want you to learn, not everything's going to be on the test. But you can't tell me in my 9th grade, Mom, what the fuck I'm taking notes for?
Tell me the key points.
Bro, it's taking, and when I say take notes, the first 3 days of our class would be the note taking. Friday was the test. Thursday would be us going through the notes. But it was like, I'm talking like, this is pages on pages of notes in one topic. But it was like she got into the nitty gritty details, and it was hard for people because, like, once again, this is harder than most college classes I've ever took.
Maybe if you were a history major, it would have been different. Maybe in our,
we were also older as well.
Yeah,
that's my first year in high school.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
How I see it, I feel like CRT should be full on CRT should be like
seamless transition. You shouldn't be able to notice.
But no, I'm saying it should be like if you want to take CRT in high school, it should be an honors class or a college credit kind of class. You know what I'm saying?
This
Where-
makes me feel like an honors class. Like that's the
Where
word.
where like like when you take an honor, you take AP calculus or honors whatever. It's supposed to be you're learning the next level of stuff.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean that our current teaching of history is okay and acceptable because it's lackluster. And we have this, Americans have this aversion to seeing themselves as the bad guys, right?
Hate it. Hate when
We,
it gets brought up.
we see ourselves as the city on the hill. We're the land of opportunities.
But what's more ironic is we don't want to see ourselves as the big dog. Americans want to see themselves as the underdog.
Yeah, we're the underdog that's
constantly beating
constantly
the big dog.
being. Yeah.
Like,
So at what point do you switch over to being the bully and not the bullied?
yeah, like that is a huge difference. Of one, we're never the villains. Two, can't never be the guy that's just the guy because people don't like those guys. But at the same time, people flaunt our military. Best in the world who don't want to fuck with us. But we're not underdogs. Like by no metric is that underdog mentality. But you want to be the underdog because that's the lovable guy. Hell, I think we only lived in America. If a government is worth a damn, I feel like all countries feel that they're the underdogs.
Yeah, I mean, because you always have the hero mentality, right? You always have you're always the hero in your stories.
Mm-hmm.
Very rarely do you ever hear someone tell a story and they're not the hero.
That's what makes me unique. I tell the story how it is. Goddamn, you can infer what you want.
You tell the story as the villain. That is true.
Funny thing is, I still am the good guy in my damn stories. It ain't my fault I had to act that way.
They made me do. Oh God.
I'm gonna give you the facts and let you draw your conclusion. But
like I was saying, yeah, it's Americans don't like seeing ourselves as the bad guy. We don't like seeing ourselves as anything other than the underdog. So I think we have. We talk a lot about like toxic masculinity, but there's such thing as toxic patriotism.
I thought it was just nationalism. I thought that was just a word.
I was trying to do a thing. You kind of killing the vibe right now.
My fault. As y'all can tell, this ain't scripted for shit. I thought the word was just alluding to you.
I was sliding in. Yeah. So toxic patriotism is a thing. Like, yeah, he already gave away the thing, nationalism, and it's when I can't remember what founding father said this, but dissent is the highest form of patriotism. And when you get to the point in your patriotism where you are not allowed to criticize your own government that you pay taxes to, don't you think we're kind of back at square one? You're now Great Britain, huh?
I was gonna mention that with like the army thing being on top, but like we are what we hated.
We are the empire. We are the. Like, if this was Star Wars, do you think we'd be the ones in the white suits, huh?
That ass, a famous wrestler. This quote gives me chills to this day. Famous wrestler CM Punk. He's transcended wrestling, UFC field career, this and that.
I always forget about that because I tried to.
He had this feud with John Cena. Like, this is before CM Punk became the man. Like, John Cena bodies what America is. One, that's how he got over. But in fact, in American wrestling, the stereotypical American guy gets over normally. Hulk Hogan, John Cena, et cetera, et cetera. But like CM Punk exact words was, you don't get to claim to be the underdog. The 14-time world champion, you don't get to talk about overcoming odds. I'm the one overcoming odds. You're the one, you became what you hate the most. You're not the Boston Red Sox. You're the Yankees now. And well, John Cena is actually from Massachusetts, so this hits extra hard. Like this hits extra. But like when I heard that, it was like that's the truth. John Cena even now today will talk about overcoming odds, which he did do in the beginning. But you're a millionaire. You're a movie star. You're a 16-time world champion. You don't get to talk holier than me about overcoming odds. I'm the little guy now. Like, and yeah, it's in character. He of course in character he hated it, but I think even beyond the character, that kind of ate away at him because people don't like that. People love to get power, love to grow their power, love to grow their influence, but do hate when you reveal that, yeah, you know you're kind of the guy, right? You're the jackass. You're right. No, I'm still the little guy. The little guy don't
Yeah.
get to fire people at will. The little guy don't get people to drop everything they're doing and pretty much
Wait
get
on
them
them.
X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Like,
Wait on them hand and foot.
yeah. And so I say that to say, with critical race theory, now why it's so controversial, that's whenever your belief system is shattered, people take it as an attack to their whole way of
Ideology.
life.
Yeah. It's their whole
Yeah.
person. Like, and I just think it's interesting. Like, you know, we used to get, by we, I mean, like, black activists used to get hate for saying white fragility, right? Like how fragile the white psyche is. Because if you were truly steadfast in your beliefs, right, nothing can make you shake it.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that me just telling the truth, I'm not making stuff up. I'm not coming up with new ideas.
Mm-hmm.
These are all facts that are easily proven and that we have seen, you know, we've seen pictures of, and we have the accounts, we have this, we have that. Y'all were stupid enough to write books about how to keep slaves, you know, in check.
It wasn't even stupid. You were just so empowered back then. So like egotistical.
Yeah. So the fact that you're able to be so shaken by that tells me that you know that, number one, that history is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That you know that your actions have caused, and by your, I mean like your people's actions, have caused the suffering of, and the continued suffering of minorities around the world.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna let that slide.
And truthfully, this is a famous quote. Don't know where it came from. If you do not learn history, it's bound to repeat itself. The main issue with people nowadays, and if you don't accept critical race theory, you're still a part of the problem. You're no better than your slave-owning ancestors because you're trying to ignore that and act like shit's always been sweet when shit's not even really sweet now.
Mm-hmm. I'll be the one to acknowledge that things are better and is getting better, in the sense of, like, yes, there's a lot more opportunities. Yes, there's you know, a lot more business owners and black business owners and movie stars and millionaires, and things are better. But if you think about it, wouldn't we, if slavery was the same, we get out of slavery, but you didn't go and destroy Black Wall Street. You didn't go destroy, I can't remember what the name of the city was, but it was in Durham. You didn't go destroy the city in Winston-Salem. You didn't go destroy, I'm saying, if you didn't go destroy these economic centers of black excellence and growth, Harlem, how far would we be now? How far would we be if America actually was true to what it says it is, a land of opportunity, and we were freed and do as you must, and we actually got a fair shake?
Mm-hmm.
If the most skilled person, if we actually truly lived in a meritocracy where the most skilled person gets the job, and if you're not skilled, you don't get the job, you get passed up, do better.
Where the original ideas are actually given its credit instead of taken and rebranded as something as original. These are all things. If we've been screaming for critical race theory without a name for a while, because these are main things that we talk about, stealing our ideas and profiting off of them, the skill of actually hiring due to experience or skill. But the huge thing for me, which has been a constant throughout history, constantly moving the goalpost. When we finally catch up to it. It starts way back further than this, but one off the top of my head, for a good starting point, is voting. Before blacks could vote, you could just vote. But then when black people, when we were freed, then you had to start taking
A literacy test.
literacy tests when black people wasn't schooled then. Like, that already would set us back 20 to 30 years for the new wave of people to fucking become literate.
I mean, at least 18.
Yeah, like, people would need to learn to become literate first to take the damn test. Then they added, like, poll taxes. Then I think at one point they even add, like, you had to pay to vote.
Yeah, poll taxes.
Oh, that's what poll taxes.
It's yeah. But
for me to finish the point, even now that people get hired and they lack the experience of another guy because they're more liked, because they look better for the role. It just seems like the goalposts keep being moved. I'm not going to say that voting is the same as an NFL coaching job, but I mentioned this last year.
I mean, I think it's pretty equivalent in the sense of, like, opportunities, right? Because I can vote for somebody who's going to give me an opportunity, and if I go get a black coach in an NFL position, they might give some opportunities to some people who you would have overlooked.
And it's like, the worst thing about it now is there's plenty of black assistant coaches, offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, and one prominent one is Eric Bieniemy. He's been a coordinator in Kansas City as long as Patrick Mahomes been there. I think he was there 2 or 3 years before that.
Yeah, there's no reason he doesn't have it.
He cannot find a job because people don't believe he is calling the plays. But since about 2017, there's been plenty of white coaches who were never offensive nor defensive coordinators. So they never called plays. They were never even in a prominent role to become head coaches. And now he's in this bubble of, if you take so many interviews and don't get hired, people start to believe, what's the matter with you? Now he's in that stigma. Oh, there must be something wrong with him. This thing's not getting hired because he's black. Like, that's just, and now he might make a change to the Ravens for a little bit more money, but for the same position, because there's headlines saying that if he really wants to become a head coach, he needs to change scenery and really prove himself. That's never been asked of anybody.
Yeah.
If you work for Bill Belichick, you've always gotten the head coach. Nobody's ever once said, you got to coach Tom Brady. Let me check your qualifications. But since he is the coordinator for Patrick Mahomes, and he's black, not Patrick Mahomes, but he's black too, now it's coming into question, how much do he really do? And that's the same. It's all through history. It's moving the goalpost. I remember for the longest, if you go to college, you're set. You're a made man. We've seen an uptick in black Americans going to college. I think there was an uptick in the 90s, in the 2000s, and I don't want to be wrong, but I'm pretty sure in the 2010s, it seemed the highest graduation rates for black Americans. But now having a bachelor's ain't even a thing. You know how many people told me, yeah, maybe you should go get your master's. Something. Basically, I should be able to find a job with my master's. What the fuck? When did a bachelor's degree become a high school diploma?
Yeah.
Hell, even before that, getting your high school diploma was supposed to open up doors for you.
Yep.
And it's like every time we keep meeting expectations, it keep not being worth a damn.
And I think the piggyback off you moving the goalpost, it's like we see this with Black youth, right? Young Black men are always perceived as threats, right? Like we've and that's why many of us carry ourselves with a certain, calmness and always measured and controlled, because if I step too far to the right, I raise my voice a little too much, even though you might have slighted me in the most craziest way.
Call me nigger, because it's the uptick of that. And you can call me all the racial slurs you have.
But even a non-racial way, you just wronged me. Wrong me enough where I would be legitimately and rightfully to be upset.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not allowed to get upset because now I'm a big angry Black guy.
I told our friend, our baker, go by the name of Bambi. Well, my friend, his fiance.
My fiance.
We were talking, and do you know that reputation has preceded me at Compass? So, like, when I came back to, I'm not going to use exact locations, but when I came back to the ballpark, because I don't really nothing to do there. Somebody I seen back at the other spot I worked at years ago, was surprised I was back. It was like something. Oh, what you surprised about? I thought you got fired. Why did you think that? And he listed off reasons, which, when I told her, the reasons were true, but not factual, that they gave me. And they pointed me out to be pretty much an angry Black guy. It was like, they said you were always late. And that's true, I was always late. In quotes. My other co-manager came at 12 all the time, and I came at 4 all the time. But we had an agreement that I come in at 4 because I was in classes, and I had another job. So technically, I was always late. Something you yelled at, I forget what the chef's lineup is. Not the chef in the office, but the next chef. So I guess that's sous chef.
Sous chef.
You cussed out the sous chef.
Chef de cuisine. I don't know how you're structured, but
you cussed out the sous chef. I did. Context behind that. Did they mention he sent out 6 orders of raw chicken? And then when I brought it back to him, he accused me of ordering it for myself and feeding it to the staff. Did they mention that part? Yeah, I cussed his stupid ass out. Something you yelled at your manager. Did that too. Did they mention the point where I did everything I could and I was getting no help, no blowback? Like, these things are true, but they're not factual. And it was like he heard it. He was like, yeah, I heard it from somebody. I thought you were fired. So they paid me like I wasn't good at my job. They didn't even tell the real truth why I left. I hated y'all. So y'all didn't mention the point where y'all were begging damn near on your knees for me to come back. I mean, if I was as bad at my job,
they would have asked me to come back.
That they paid me out to be, I wouldn't have been getting begged 2 years, 3 years after to come back. I mean, but yeah, like, it made me laugh. I care so little about this job.
Even if like, there's jobs that I've hated, like, when I worked at that bar in college, hated the job, hated it, fucking sucked. Drunk people suck. But if they were to badmouth me like that, when I know I never did anything as a bad employee, that would almost make me go back in that bitch and cuss them out.
It's laughable, but it's like I can't pinpoint who did it because one is like 3 or 4 years removed. And so, like, I know how it happened. The rumor spread. Whoever did it, and I don't think it was my manager, because she wasn't that way. Even though we clashed heads, she didn't hate me personally. She just hated working with me. Like, there is a completely different thing. Whoever did it was so precise in her words because, like, they knew. Like, they knew this stuff, but they withheld the information. And it's like, because none of these, everything he told me wasn't even, he didn't even tell me something that wasn't true.
So so it had to be someone there for all of it.
Yeah.
Or at least been,
somebody
semi present.
Yeah. So it was like somebody really threw me under the bus.
Yeah.
Then it was also came to my realization when somebody asked, do you think they took all your credit for all the stuff you said you did? I'd be fucked. That's the part that pisses me off the most. They took all my fucking credit. I don't mind having dirt on my name because I don't give a fuck about being like, hell, once again, I prefer not to be talked to. Whoa, they took all my achievements and planted it there.
It's the rewriting history. But for that very reason, I make it a point to never get mad at work. I've only ever been mad at work, like really, really mad, like cussing mad, maybe twice. And well, probably more than twice. 4 times.
And I will admit this, the older that I've gotten, I would never do that at my career job. I would still do it now, or like in the instant when I cussed out the sous chef. It needed to be done because one, he's been, up until that point, he's always been like bad at his job. But he was able to ignore it and ride it out. No, you're actively sinking the ship. And it's like, fuck it, worst thing that happened to me here is get fired. I don't like this job. Don't threaten me with a good time. Don't let me go. And I guess it's for this one thing of the reason why I don't respect Compass. Most Compass employees, they're not going to be any authority to help me out later on. Maybe in catering, but my time here is coming to an end. Like, I would say never burn bridges, but when you're with dead end people with no upside to their lives, fuck, I'm gonna keep a bridge for y'all. Y'all might sink me. But no, like, that's why I tell my cousin all the time, and I tell any younger black people that listen to me, if this is what you really care about, don't get mad. Well, you can be mad, but find a more articulate way to voice your displeasure and don't just cuss them out. Because you could be 100% right. They're only going here to cuss out and punish you and not change the thing that you're upset about. That's my message to anybody listening to this. If it's something you really care about, don't cuss them out. But if you do not care about that job or even the industry like I do, bro, let them niggas know, bro. Yeah, I did that as a place. When I did it for the fact of, bro, if I even see you outside of this bitch, if I see you at the supermarket, you better walk the other way and not look at me, goddammit, because I'm liable to do more. I've never actually seen that chef again. I've seen my manager again, and it's like we have a mutual friend. It's like, I'm older. I tell him all the time, I regret yelling at her because she was trying. But there's two sides. Like, all because you're trying doesn't mean it's helping. Like, there's two truths here. She was trying her hardest, but it still won't help me for shit.
Yeah.
You're like, so it's like, I do regret it, and it come to find out that she's forgiven me, and she was really happy that I was sorry about it. So, that's water under the bridge. I ain't really see her no more, but that's water under the bridge. But that's how also she saw it from my point of view, but I guess it's her being black. She understood, bro, I'm upset because I wanted to do a great job. I think that's what angered me even more. Bro, I'm trying to do a good job for this little crappy ass company. Y'all can't even help me do that.
Yeah.
But yep, that was my tangent on. Yeah, I was actually afraid as a big angry black guy, and yeah, it's enough to be upset about. But I'm not gonna lie, it's quite funny. I'm not gonna hold you. If I found out who did it, I might have to catch him. Like if I could ever
It'd
find
be
the
the big
exact
scary
source,
black guy.
you feel me? But because I know that I probably won't find out who said all this, it's whatever.
Yeah. And I guess is why I've never gotten mad at a job is because I work in the food industry. And the food industry is very small, especially when you live in a city. Everybody knows everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you don't want to develop the reputation of, and not just as a black person, just in general. You don't want to develop the reputation of lazy. You don't want to develop the reputation of being short-tempered.
Hard to work with.
Hard to
Even
work
though
with.
that meaning is very loose, depending on what
Hard to
comes.
work with is like, I just do my job well.
I've
Hard to
seen-
work with could be, oh, they're lazy. That's a very broad statement.
You feel me? I've seen hard to work with. They don't like to talk to me, but they do the job. And then hard to work with is don't show up. You know? So this is real broad on what's hard to work with. But yes, that's another loose terms.
Yeah, but that's also like the like we said earlier, the moving of the goalpost. Because like you can be the perfect employee, right? Like you can be, what you want to, do your job, do it well, even go above beyond sometimes. But if you're not, maybe you just don't get along with your employees, your fellow employees and employer, because they
don't like them. Like it's
you don't
okay
like
not
them.
to like them.
You don't like them. You don't have the same shared experiences with them, because the experience that you get from being a black person in an industry, you can relate. Maybe they're all white.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'll be cordial with you, but we're not going to get into no deep conversations because this isn't going anywhere.
That's also me. That's also somebody said, "Don't talk alike, bro." I'm not talking to y'all, motherfuckers. That's even for my career, bro. If y'all actively piss me off, one way for me not to get upset and something, I'm gonna go work over here.
I'm going to avoid the conversation. I'm
So-
going to do my job.
Or when I'm notorious for this. Like I'm going on break. Something you want to go out together? Nah, I just want to eat alone. The point of me going on break was to get away from y'all motherfuckers.
I do that. I do that to this day. I will go hide in the catering room.
Like that's why I will go hide somewhere so random. If somebody popped in, what are you doing here? Come on, break. Don't tell nobody.
But the last time I went on break, I guess she's my superior, but she came in and sat with me, and I was like, okay. I like her though, so I let it slide.
When I like you, that's like I'm only speaking on intent of if you don't like. If I like you, bro, we can go out, we can do whatever. When I like you, I will go on break with you. But nah, bro, you've been pissing me off for fucking 5 hours. And you think I'm supposed to spend my only third? One, I don't even like going on break. If I go on break, I was probably forced to. And so if I'm forced to go on break, hell no, I'm not talking to y'all motherfuckers, bro. And bro, that's a lot of stuff that I have to suck up.
Yeah.
You know, I had one have to go on break because I'm a nigga, bro. Go on break, can I just leave work 30 minutes early?
But apparently, it's not the same thing.
Gotta go on break, gotta work with co-workers I don't like, and now you want me to, nah, bro, something gotta give. But how does this all relate to critical race theory? I feel like if it's taught, people are just more cognizant of this stuff. I think if white kids were showed it at a younger age, and like, not everything in the nitty gritty details, but just experience to it, just know, like back to my poll tax thing, even to now, just to know that it has evolved and the terminology has changed. They can change. I have a couple of white friends, a couple of white professors who's had kids. And it's like I've seen their kids become like woke damn near overnight to stuff that they just didn't know. Like, I'm not gonna hold you, some white people really don't know that racism's still a thing.
Yeah,
And I mean, like, if you're around white people all your life, Why would you know that?
But that's why you always get this pushback about white privilege. It's like, well, I haven't experienced any privilege in my life, and I was like, well, it's not that you would experience the privilege; it's that we don't get the privileges that you experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you get extra privileges; it's that we're denied those privileges.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get the privilege of the most basic of ones, the benefit of the doubt. We do not get it. You might say you're giving us the benefit of the doubt, but we know and we have seen that time and time again, you've already made your mind up.
We're guilty until proven innocent. We gotta prove we didn't do it.
If we're the victim, we still get tried in the court of public opinion. We saw this with what was that guy's name? I'm so bad at this. But he was in his house and the cop came in and shot him.
This shit happens a lot. God damn it! But I know exactly.
But she was getting off of work. She walked into her house.
Brianda.
No, not Breonna Taylor. This was down. I think it was down in Texas. But Breonna Taylor happened in Tennessee. But the point I'm making is, once they tested his blood for whatever fucking reason, and they found THC in the system, and then that was like put into the news, like it was part of the police release. I was like, my man is dead in his own house because she went into the wrong house and shot him.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. My man was on the couch trying to eat some ice cream, chilling.
Can't just chill in your own crib.
He might have been fucking stoned, but is it a crime to have the munchies? Is it a death penalty crime to have the munchies in your own house?
That ass. Yeah.
So the fact that we had to defend him when he was the victim, he died.
Yeah, that's some wild shit. It's wild times we live in when you got to like, hey, you know that in no way he was in the wrong, right?
I remember somebody like, I had a physical conversation with somebody and he was like, well, he had weed in his systems. I was like, okay, so does Timmy down the street. What does that have to do with anything? Bro. He was in his house. If someone had walked into your house and shot you, and say you lived, you would want them prosecuted to the highest level of the law. No matter if they thought it was your house or not your house or whatever.
Yeah. Bro, it'd be people like that. But I've experienced that at work. Something, oh, he was high. Nigga, you do crack. Fuck you. If that nigga's got smoked over weed, you should be dead.
It is baffles me. It's like I think the perfect example, and like the more core part of like college level CRT, it's like, you know, the judicial outcomes, and you know, this is something that Black people have been saying for forever. But you know, little Timmy gets caught with whatever explicit substance of their choice, heroin, whatever. They get a slap on the wrist. They get community service. They might, at worst, they do 2 years in the pen, and they out.
Maybe not even 2 years, just
the 60 days.
Or when you got to check in with somebody.
Parole
for 2 years.
You got parole for 2 years.
Yep.
Yeah, they get sentenced to 2 years in the pen, but then the judge is like, I feel bad. I don't want to ruin your future and your life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you parole.
Yep.
Like, we see that all the time. But Tyrone gets caught with a crack rock. His life is over.
Get caught with weed. Like, this is known things that ex guy that was white got caught with something hard as shit. Black guy caught with weed. And he up out of here. And it's just like, damn. Even, like, knowing what we know now in the tides of turn, weed ain't even that bad. They're like...
And so it's just like, you know, the moving of the goalposts, and how we are, I think it's like 10 times more likely to get a 10 times more harsher sentencing than white people for the same crime.
Mm-hmm.
You're more likely to get leniency if you're not black. It's baffling, and it's undeniable because the numbers say so. It's undeniable because not only do we have, we've seen it with our eyes, but the numbers don't lie. So even if you want to say that like this is just we're cherry picking data, this and that, but when you look at the studies, you can't call yourself you can't say that you're arguing in good faith if you don't believe that you don't believe your own eyes. I don't believe you're lying, guys.
And I hate when people say cherry picking data. Shit, is it the data? Did I make it up? And regardless if I found some that match my argument, if it's facts, it's facts. Like,
so I do believe that we should look at the data in its entirety. Like,
Yeah.
So we shouldn't go through and pick like, oh, we're going to exclude these white people who got harsh sentences because, X, Y, and Z. Let's look at it in its entirety
Mm-hmm.
and come to a conclusion.
Makes sense.
Simple.
I was about to say, like, when you're arguing something,
Oh, yeah.
that's when you use, like, that's the reason why all this data was collected for anything.
Yes.
And that's why it's broken down. It's because we are using this.
Yep.
We're not saying that white people don't get arrested for harsher stuff. We're just saying that them niggas was really stupid and really got
And
caught.
we're not even saying that white people don't go to jail for crimes that black people go to jail for. We're not saying that some of y'all don't get harsh sentences. We're saying that on average.
Mm-hmm. I came up with a term. I'd be like, hey, y'all white people can't even white privilege, right? Yeah, bro, you deserve to go to jail. You deserve. Yeah, boy, you could even use white privilege correctly. Boy, if I was white, boy, I knew I could get away with a goddamn grand larceny scandal. I swear to you, just for the fact to be black, I think that I could possibly not get max punishment. But I was like, oh yeah, I beat that bitch. And y'all niggas get busted. Y'all waste y'all white privilege on damn drugs. You done got arrested 6 times for having crack. Yeah, of course, the 7th time they gonna send your ass to jail. Boy, you should have wasted your white privilege on something worth the fuck. Some fraud or something.
You just could have got rich with this hoe. But and like another way that like and we're seeing this currently. We talked about this in a recent podcast episode. Go check that out. Black gangs are getting tried with getting hit with RICO cases, right? Like, and I'm using the word gang loosely because I'm not implicating anybody in this. But you see this with Young Thug. We see this with 6ix9ine and the niggas he was rolling with. We see this with who's the nigga through the hat?
Bobby
Shmurda and his crew. They like black people are getting hit with these RICO charges, which black gangs and white gangs are not treated the same. Because I think the perfect example of this is the Hells Angels, right? They were able to rebrand themselves, and this is what Young Thug tried to do. He rebranded, YSL to into being a music company and a record label, and black gangs aren't afforded those same luxuries.
And motherfucking KKK still active. Them niggas go eat at goddamn country cooking. Or crackpot.
I don't know,
Bro, the old store that's like black and yellow.
I don't think we had those.
Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel. Oh.
Yes. They go meet up at Cracker Barrel, and I never seen that shit get hit. Goddamn it!
It's crazy. It's the disdain that they have for black groups, and I think it all started with where I don't know in my mental thought. It all started with the Black Panthers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that was the first like big black organization that was like
Grouped together for
grouped
a cause.
together. And it's like they labeled them as criminals, they labeled them as militants. They abided by the gun laws, so they changed the gun laws. They you know what I'm saying? They always do. They did this with those groups, and then by destroying that group, you get the birth of the Blood and the Crips, right?
And even the original Bloods and Crips were just selling drugs. It was no problem selling drugs when you're just destroying black people. But now that we found a way to get rich off of it, it became a huger issue than what it needed to be.
I mean, but also like, look for how long the mafia, the Italian mob, even the Irish mob. A little known fact: there was a thing called the Jewish mob in New York at that time.
Yeah, I heard that.
So like think for how long that lasted, and technically they're still active.
Mm-hmm.
Like the mafia still exists, and they don't have the same kind of power they had back then, but. And yes, they were hit with RICO cases. They were prosecuted, but they were allowed to exist and affect business and cause terror in their communities for so long.
Most black gangs is only 10 years.
Yep.
Black Panthers was 80s. Bloods and
That's
Crips
70s.
was like 80s, maybe 90s. It's only 10 years. Anything we can say, you're lucky to get to. I think the damn Nation of Islam was only at its peak. Like, it kept ascending, but it was only there for like 10 to 15 years because it got infiltrated and it was seen as a threat and it knocked off a bunch of major members. Like, any semblance of black people is gone within the decade.
Yeah.
Because we pose a threat. And to get me back to my point of CRT, the reason why it's so dangerous to people's way of life is once not only black people are unified, but the good white people who do want good in this world and who aren't racist or just after people, eyes are opened, it would just about mark the beginning of the end for their way of life. It sounded a lot more dramatic than what I meant. I was throwing words together.
It's like this is oh shit.
And so
This could be a college paper.
bro, I swear to God. When I got to the point I marked the beginning of the end, oh shit.
Oh shit.
But that's why it's so dangerous. I thought it was blackwashing. Not gonna hold you for the longest time because that's what the other side is trying to take it as. When it's no, we just want the Black history to be. We want Black history to be taught, not just in February.
Yep.
That's basically what it is. Just tell the truth, and this is my philosophy in life, bro. If the truth offends you, that's a you problem.
If the truth offends you, you need to look deep inside yourself and be like, why does that make me feel bad?
Like a hoe hate being called a hoe, but if you hated being called a hoe,
you wouldn't be hoeing.
Yeah, like don't get mad at me because I got a word for it because I just painted you. You know, I just put the label on you. You did it like that, and that's critical race theory in a nutshell. It directly attacks a way of life that is slowly coming to an end in America, but that bitch is slow. I'm talking a snail and a goddamn 7K slow. Yeah,
I mean, the powers that be are trying to maintain their power. And, that's what anybody would do in a situation. Mm-hmm. If you saw yourself as superior and this and that, you're going to hold on to that till the wheels fall off.
Till the very end, till the bitter end. You're going to flip sides. You're going to flip information. You're going to manipulate information. You're going to do what you need to
Everything in your power. But I think I will say that it has picked up in pace a little bit, but it's because you're able to disseminate information way easier and faster now.
Yeah. it's easier to be woke in quotes.
Yeah.
Like you can go find your own information, and it comes and goes. Sometimes I wish I lived in the '90s, but I'm glad I live now because I can go find information. Like that worked for me. It worked. Well, I guess if I was in the '90s, I would just go to books. I would have learned something. I would just went out my way to go find books on the topic. But it feels good knowing that. Man, let me go do my own research on this shit. And that's how I was. That's why I was always ahead in goddamn classes. Nigga, y'all talking about goddamn World War II? Nigga, I read about all that in 7th grade when I went down a wormhole of goddamn World War II. And can we talk about the Manhattan Project in here? Goddamn. And so, yes, I think it's opening the doors. It gives me hope more. When I told you I seen my professor, my white professor's kids had like one of them was front and center in Black Lives Matter movement. He said she would pretty much call her grandparents and tell them pretty much every day why it's important to be more aware and this and that. It was like I didn't know that she was attracted to it like this, and I'm glad for it. She's telling me stuff that I didn't even know. And so it was just like, I still believe that there are good people out there, and once us good people get together, we can finally start doing good. Truthfully, that's what the other side's afraid of, not even just in critical race theory. The other side, the people manipulating everything, is afraid of us getting together. That's why there's so many divides. Man, woman, white, black, rich, poor. The last thing
I think the big divide is rich and poor.
yeah.
If we're being honest, I think
The rich controlling as opposed to the rich that's just there.
yeah,
Because some rich people are just going with it because it's just
you can be a benevolent rich person,
yeah.
especially when you've come out the mud,
hmm
when you know the struggle.
Or that's it. And it's like if you gained your wealth, and it's like you're not actively against poor, but you are who you hang around with sometimes. And it's like, oh, hey, he told me about this way of making money. Holy shit, you telling me they're trying to take, they're trying to destroy our profit? But it's like, yeah. Well, once you're given the full knowledge, not, oh, they just trying to destroy our profit. Well, this was pretty shady. Like, so,
Pretty shiesty.
yeah. No wonder they want to get rid of it. I don't want to be a part of this either. Like, it's stuff of that levels of, yeah. I don't got an exact word on who the other side is, but the other side is afraid.
It's a mixture of the status quo, people who are well off, doing good in their lives, wealthy, this and that, and uneducated people. That's your core other side. It's like people who are too dumb and too locked into their ideologies to step outside of themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and people who want to manipulate those people into keeping them rich.
And there's a lot of dummies out there. Yeah. And
But
that's not even a race thing.
But that's the importance of teaching history in its entirety.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally that simple. I remember there was this was years back, like 2015. It was a video going around. It was like people were trying to say that, like, the Civil War wasn't fought over slaves. It was fought about states' rights. And the rebuttal was like, the states' rights to do what?
No,
What was the right that they were fighting for the hardest?
that ass? It's like, you're right.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, what rights was they fighting for? Yeah.
It's just like, come on now, like you're lying. You're telling the truth to tell a lie. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, let's not don't piss on me and tell me it's rain.
Bro, it's small stuff like that. Not even in that like a racist sense. When people talk to me about like when they say stuff like that. But I was like, well, then continue with your thought. Like, bro, that's what bro, let's get that stupid shit out of my face, bro. You're wasting my God-given time. Like,
I cannot stand that.
bro, you feel and like it don't even have to be, it could be something simple like talking about anime. Like, just if you do that, okay, so I see where you're going with it. Then keep going.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna get to the point of what I said. Like, bro, that's truly peak anger in me. Bro, you are wasting my fucking time. You're wasting my time because you're not thinking. You're just saying bullshit.
Or it's even more frustrating to me, like when you know what you're trying to do, you're gaslighting me.
Oh, that really pissed me off.
I would almost let it slide if you're just not thinking it through all the way. But if it's obvious that this is intentional, like you're trying to skew people's perception into a certain like, come on, guy. Come on.
I won't cuss you out, but you will get cussed at, bro. Get your dumb ass away from me, bro. But that's, bro, I've used up all my tolerance just now. That's stuff that I actually can't keep working with. Like, once I let it go, bro, yeah, just go. Yeah, just go and get up out my face. I might fuck with you tomorrow. But, yeah, in conclusion, I think critical race theory should be taught. I think it should be sprinkled in throughout, just like any fucking course. Like, you can take AP fucking math. You can go to college to major in goddamn math. It should be like anything. It should be there. And if you want to learn more, the option should be available.
Yep.
But the basis should be already there. The most important parts should be there. So if we're talking about World War II, there should be more fucking emphasis on, can't think of the damn black pilots.
They were called the Tuskegee Airmen.
Yeah. If we talk about motherfucking the American Revolution, talk about that there was black people in that war as well.
Actually fighting actively on both sides.
Like, mention that you don't have to change the whole structure. If you have a lesson plan, just be sure to include the black people.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's not this crazy concept of like the whole curriculum is now black curriculum. You know what I'm saying? We're not trying to completely structurally change the system of teaching.
And you can keep the same exact curriculum. We're just adding DLC to that bitch. The DLC does not change the game.
Yeah, just sprinkle that in. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think I learned like real black history in school once. Like stuff that's not surface level. MLK marched. Malcolm X was militant.
Bro, I couldn't even really learn about Malcolm X. I swear to God, he's taboo.
I got the he was a guy, and he was very pro-black, and that was basically it.
I'm not gonna hold you. I don't think I ever talked about Malcolm X at schools. The only reason I know is because my history teacher, and this was outside of school, gave me the Malcolm X autobiography. And that's just for me. I don't think, and I could possibly be wrong, but if I did touch on it, it was so little that I don't remember. I don't think we ever mentioned him, never mentioned Marcus Garvey. It was only Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks.
We talked about Malcolm X, and I know the reason why we talked about Malcolm X was because, and we got the surface level, was because someone did their Black History project on Malcolm X. His parents were the militant parents. You know what I'm saying? Like the very pro-black parents that was not in vogue then.
Yeah.
So like he did his Black History project about Malcolm X. I think I did mine on George Washington Carver. But he did Malcolm X, and then people would start asking questions about Malcolm X, and the teacher had no choice.
You feel me? Or like, as now it goes on, and really learn about Muhammad Ali. Then, like, their sports icons that actually did.
I just knew that Muhammad Ali was an amazing boxer. I had no idea about his activism.
I just really learned about, and this was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
About the summits.
Yep.
Didn't know about that shit. It was a major event in history. Like that, and that's not from, oh, you're just saying it because you're black. No. It was major because you've never seen so many black celebrities and athletes come together like that. I don't even think you've seen it since. I think the closest thing to that was We Are the World. But it
weren't black.
Yeah,
It was sad.
it wasn't even political. It was just for a song, just to give the scope of how big it was. I didn't know about that shit.
Yeah.
Like, and I only really knew, I think, when Muhammad Ali died, and they talked about it. So it was a little bit more than 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it never came up. Now the sports shows are a little bit more woke, and so now they mention it more.
Mm-hmm.
They'll talk about, when they talk about Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and more athletes of that nature. But it's just like, man, like that's something that's when it's black people in movement, that's not peace. It's not talked about. Yeah, that's just big. When it's not about freedom marching and you beating the hell out of me, it's not talked about.
Well, I mean, but even Martin Luther King, we get this whitewashed, watered down version of Martin Luther King.
Mm-hmm.
Martin Luther King was actually way more militant than we put on.
And I'm pretty sure he was at his wit's end right around the time he was assassinated. Not saying he was going to go full Malcolm X, but he was starting to.
Yeah, there was definitely a switch. I don't think his whole ideology was shaken up, like the nonviolence ideology was shaken up quite yet.
Yeah,
but he was quite.
You could tell he was changing.
Yeah, he was becoming more and more militant and willing to push the boundaries,
blow the doors open, basically. Like
but I mean, Martin Luther King, at the end of his life, end of his political career, little known fact, he was damn near communist, as close as you can get as possible.
Yeah, and with the way he was treated, shit, who wouldn't be?
But like he was like he wasn't like verbally like, oh, I'm communist, but like his belief system and his he believed in a socialist concept, and thought that the world was structured a certain way to keep poor and black people down, which it is. So he came to his conclusions naturally.
Yep.
So, and that's one of those things that you just don't get from school, because communism is the big bad evil, and the fact that this person that we regard with such reverence, and once a year we put him on a pedestal, and even the people who would have hated him back in the day now every year put out a tweet about how Martin Luther King was a great man.
Yep.
You cover up the part where he, directly talks about against your ideologies.
Yeah, do it just I don't know, Martin Luther King is more of a damn, like, he's not even really a figure no more. He's
a myth.
Yeah.
He is ascended into.
It's like Christmas.
Yeah, he's Santa Claus. He's Black Santa Claus, but the watered down version of Black Santa Claus.
Because like they manipulated into what he was supposed to represent and how they want to represent him to us. And so it's basically like Christmas. Like it felt like every few things get changed, benefit the other side. When he's who you are who he's opposing. You do understand that, right?
I remember some congressperson, I can't remember who it was, said if Martin Luther King was alive today, he would have been a Republican. And everybody just stopped and looked at them and were like, what?
Huh?
You
do know y'all the motherfuckers,
no.
You can't believe that, my guy.
There's no way.
No, bro. I gotta end it right there. Yeah, bro. Buddy, look, you on there. My bricks would have got work. Boy, I'll show you how a nigga toss some bricks. Yeah, boy. Don't ever disrespect the king like that. And boy, I would have been tossing them bricks like that nigga tossed some shoes at Bush.
He was moving them hoes.
Bro, I'm probably gonna edit this up, but that moment iconic as shit. I remember watching that outside of live. It happened like 30 minutes. My grandma brought me in there to fucking watch it. I don't even know why she made me watch it. It was like, that's the president. Damn, they told shoes at the president. Like, I had a little bit more high regard for the president up until then. We tossing shoes at them motherfucker. But that motherfucker George Bush had a little bit of senses on him.
Yeah, my man had to weave. If he wasn't a war criminal.
Boy, that's probably where he got it from. Boy, God forbid. It's funny that it happened. Boy, lucky them Jews ain't connect. That would have been the meme. It's still a meme. God, that would have made meme Hall of Fame.
Oh, bro.
Like
that would be. Every chance I got, I'll bring that up.
Bro, like if that shoe,
I would hit you like Bush got hit with that shoe.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. Mexican grandmas didn't have a chance.
Okay, bro, that's how my grandma used to be. That's exactly like, bro. She'll pick up one, miss, and then I don't know why I always did this. I would turn around taunting the fuck girl that got hit with the other one. Bro, I am a super villain. Why did I always monologue after I dodged the first?
Speaking of throwing shoes, I remember one time my mom was, I was like, messing with my mom, and I like ran and I was zigzagging, trying to make sure she didn't hit me. She lobbed the shoe up and caught me mid zag. No,
bro, that's why.
She kicked it with her foot. Like it wasn't even like her hand. She kicked it with her foot and.
Nah, bro. Not only was that bad lucky, God, that would have been funny as shit. I know you were utterly shocked. Like, damn, I know you were shocked because it didn't hit you like this. Like she threw it. Damn, she should have tossed that bitch a bit.
It hit me in the back, but it was like, and I could tell like it was a lob because it wasn't hard. It was.
I was also like, damn, that bitch almost hit me at the top of my head. Yo, chill out, B. That's just good B-roll right there. Oh, shit.
All right, well.
Tell us how you feel about critical race theory. Do you think it should be taught? How do you feel about it? Let us know down below in the comments.
And we out.